Oh, hello, and welcome to the RCD ShareNet. My name's Dave Thompson, and I am the Community Outreach Coordinator and ShareNet content provider here at RCD. And we are into our new program for the next 3 months. We've been focusing on one subject and kind of just examining it in every different angle. And we're really excited that we are doing youth, and we're calling it What Are Youth Up To? So we have today a young gentleman who has been working his way up in the sport of sledge hockey, or they call it para ice hockey now. I guess is the sport. So we're going to introduce Mateo Palazzari, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and what he is currently up to. So hello, welcome, Mateo.
Hi, David. Sorry, Dave. Thanks for having me. Cool.
And
Yeah.
so, how old are you?
So I'm 15 years old.
How long have you been playing hockey?
Yeah, so I started playing hockey when I was 5 years old. So that's back in 2012, 2013, kindergarten. It was just kind of a thing that my best friend's brother, he was in a wheelchair and he tried it a couple times. So we thought it was a good idea for me to try it. I have bilateral fibular hemophilia. So that means that I'm missing the fibula bone in both of my legs. And when I was about 1 year old, they amputated my legs, and they basically amputated my feet and realigned my tibia, which is like the second bone in your lower leg, tibia and fibula. I'm missing the fibula. Anyways, so through that, I've been able to wear prosthetics, and ever since I've been able to walk and do basically everything that I've wanted to do. Haven't really held me back too much, but they've also provided a lot of opportunities like hockey and stuff. So we thought it was a good idea to give it a shot, and I kind of took it and ran.
And you weren't really a one sport. Speaking of running, you weren't really a one sport person as well.
Yeah.
You had the carbon fiber blade thing, and you did some track and field and stuff as well.
Totally. Yeah. No. I mean, kind of. Yeah. We were just, again, like I said, it didn't really hold me back. We tried all sorts of things. I've done all sorts of sports as I've grown up. I've done rock climbing, skiing, kayaking, golf, skateboarding, you name it. I've tried it. It's been really cool opportunities, and there's been different legs that I've used, like my running legs, or what do you think? My swimming legs, and then I have some smaller ones that I call stubbies that I use like slippers. There's a lot of different applications that I can use with my prosthetics, and it's pretty neat because again, it opens so many different avenues for me to kind of try different things.
Were you ever tempted to try seated volleyball?
I have. I know that it's been an opportunity. I've never tried it because I've always been able to play actual volleyball. I played it with my school in elementary school, so I never ended up playing seated volleyball. But like for hockey, for example, skating was a little bit harder for me. It was like kind of getting the balance, and without the ankle movement, it was a little bit more difficult. So that's why we kind of thought sledge hockey, para ice hockey might work a little bit better, and it did.
At one point, there was a fellow on the Canadian men's team that played regular volleyball as well. He did both. Yeah, I met him through some stuff that I did with the volleyball team. But so, what are you currently up to right now? This is not really hockey weather or time for hockey. So this is kind of training time, I guess.
Yeah. So my season just ended a little bit. My season ended a couple weeks ago. We did a big tournament. I played with Team Alberta in like the national tournament because BC is just a little bit too small to send a team. Our kind of players are too small. Our player count, rather. Anyways, so I played with Team Alberta, and we got second in the country, which is pretty good. It was a really cool opportunity. And yeah, it went really well. And so that kind of wrapped up my season for this year. And then right now, I guess I'm just kind of finishing up school, getting ready for the summer. Going to be doing lots of traveling and hanging out with my friends. And yeah, I'm ready for some nice weather.
And you also have a camp coming up too, you said.
Yeah, I'm going to camp in late July. And
is that just for summer, or is that specifically for training and whatnot?
No, it's a summer camp, overnight
Oh,
camp.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, sorry. No, yeah, no,
Um,
just not doing too much training over the summer, just kind of living my life right now.
right. Okay.
Mhm.
Good. So there is some challenges in BC that you can't. There's not as many teams. You're saying it's just
Yeah.
the player count.
Yeah. So in BC we have there's very few people that come out regularly to our practices. It makes it pretty difficult to put together teams for different tournaments and stuff like that. To put together even a team, like a single one, it's very few people. It's definitely made it so that we have like kind of a tighter knit community, but we do. I mean, it's definitely, especially in Ontario, they're leaps and bounds ahead of us in terms of the
Hmm.
sport. There's so many players, so many different teams, whereas we have one BC team with about 10 people on it, right? So yeah, it's different, but I'm doing what I can. I'm working with ever since I went to a next gen camp in April, which I'll talk about probably in a little bit. And ever since then, I've been talking to some Team Canada representatives about training and all sorts of stuff that I can do out here, even if we don't have the numbers that other people
Hmm.
might be able to take advantage of in like
All
Ontario.
right. So you've kind of gone over how you got into it, how you got into the sport. What do you
Mhm.
enjoy most about it, do you think?
It sounds kind of funny, but I love like going fast and like turning. I'm serious. It's like just it's always been something that's always like been my favorite part. Just because I'm a bilateral amputee, missing both my legs. My sled is quite short. I'm sure there'll be a picture that you can be able to show. Um, and because it's so short, I can just kind of weave around people, and it's so much fun. That's always kind of been my favorite part. Just kind of dipping around the ice and yeah, just going fast.
Yeah, I know with my disability, it's just a constant pain and joints and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
swim, and that's just feeling weightless is just the
Yeah,
best, right?
yeah,
Because I
it
just
is.
don't have that. It's just the best feeling, right?
Totally.
And I can totally see where that would be.
Hmm.
And just a question that popped into my mind: is there still sort of set positions in para hockey, like defenseman,
Yeah,
forward, that sort of thing? It's still okay.
yeah. I'll give you the rundown. So basically, para ice hockey is very similar, basically identical to the rules of regular hockey. Offside, all that kind of stuff. There is one additional rule, which is called T-boning. It's basically when you hit another person's sled at a 90-degree angle.
Right on,
Yeah,
man.
because it cause all sorts of pain. So that's not allowed, but otherwise the rules are the same. And then obviously you're sitting in a sled, you are pushing yourself with sticks with spikes on the end, and they have the kind of the bottom part, the head of the hockey stick. I guess that would be the term. I'm not quite sure. On the top, and you slide them down to be able to kind of puck manage
Right.
around your sled. And then you push yourself, and your sled has blades on the bottom, and that's how you can kind of get around the ice. It's pretty neat.
So I have sat on one, and I have tried it at the Para Tough competitions. I volunteered there
Oh,
a
nice.
couple of years, so I
Cool.
have sat on the sled and I've moved it. So did you find the first time that was the toughest part, was the moving or the balance? The balance.
I think it comes down to the balance because that's a lot
Yeah.
of core, especially people that have high
Just with
apnea,
the like a
with
higher
the
quad
a
and whatnot
higher,
else.
like
Yeah.
for wheelchairs, higher point of feel. Is that
Right.
what's the term?
Yeah, where their sense of
Yeah,
sensation is basically, right?
yeah. When their senses, if it's like high above their abs, obviously they're gonna struggle in that
Hmm.
part. And so I'm kind of fortunate that I obviously do have sensation in all parts of my
Right.
body. I'm just
Right.
missing my feet. Um, and that makes it much easier for me to balance and stuff. But there's definitely different challenges that come with different disabilities for hockey and different benefits as well. Like I said, I can kind of turn around people because my sled is so short.
And they have those same distinctions. I know with a lot of the sports, you have to have a balance of the different, uh, there's like a number that you have to put on the ice, right? With the higher quads, lower quads.
I don't think so. No.
I've read it in some of the sports where you have to have, or there's sort of a grading.
Oh yeah, I know
Yeah,
that's for wheelchair rugby. I don't think that's for hockey.
they don't have
Para
it as
hockey.
much for that. Okay, yeah, I know
No,
it was
no.
for wheelchair rugby for sure.
Yeah.
And so they have to have a balance of the different disabilities on the floor at the same time.
No, actually, no. Yeah, so that is another kind of. It's an interesting part of hockey, of para hockey. Whereas, again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but if you're missing both your legs like me, your sled is obviously very short, and you do have that kind of advantage of being able to turn quickly. So a lot of, if you look on the Team America para national team, Paralympic national team, it's a ton of bilateral amputees because they just have that advantage. So it's definitely interesting, kind of the way that the teams are formed around that.
Well, I watched this year, and I really liked. I'm a physics guy. I like angles and stuff like that, and in hockey, and I loved the passing in between the sled.
Yeah, it's
and
neat,
the
huh?
stuff that people could get into, right? It
It's a
was
lot
like,
of just like going around and
yeah,
around
just
and
the
twists
angles, and
and
oh, it's on this
crazy.
side now. It's on this side, and
It's a lot of what's the word? Deception.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really so. What are your plans? Do you think with is it this? You tell us this is the next gen. That's the
Yeah.
is that's the Royal Bank program, isn't it? RBC.
No, it's run by Hockey Canada.
Okay.
And what it is, it's basically a next gen. It was in April. It was a next gen. It was a week-long next gen camp for future national team players, Paralympians, that kind of thing, specifically for sledge hockey, para ice hockey.
Well, I think the RBC program was just to find athletes in general and not know what their sport was yet, right?
Okay. Yeah. And then so this is much more specific. It's a private invite kind of thing. And it was really neat. I was working with a bunch of national players and tons of specialists to really elevate my game. And I came out of it learning a lot and meeting a lot of people. And I think it's paved the road for my future, which eventually, hopefully, might be Paralympics and national team. But I think as of right now, definitely my priority is being a teenager. I'm not rushing into it too much. But I do hope to see that on my horizon someday.
All right. And so what do you think is the coolest moment that you've had so far? Ceremony or something that you've been involved in, or meeting somebody?
I think maybe two. I think the first one was this year at the end of May, winning second in the country with Alberta. I think that was I mean, obviously the highest kind of the highest level of playing that I've done, and it was really neat, just kind of knowing that I was keeping up with some
that you are at that level, yeah,
and that I'm at that level, and it was really neat. And then I think I'd say another if there's a person that I met, and there's a national team player named Greg Westlake, and and I met him way back in 2016 when I was quite a bit younger. He was we were traveling to Ontario, and we went for a quick visit at his house, and it was really neat making that connection. He's always been kind of a role model for me, giving me some tips. He's given me some cool sticks, and it's been really cool having that connection and seeing that kind of path, and seeing, because he also has the same disability as me. It's been cool seeing the kind of what I can do with what I have.
Right. It's good to have that comparison and see someone at a different stage of their sort of life. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to wrap up this with Mateo, and this will be on our youth and disability, what are youth up to? Thank you very much, Mateo. We'll be watching out for you, and I see a lot of stuff all the time from your father.
I'm sure.
So I keep tabs, and thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Very nice to meet you all.